There are moments that feel like punctuation marks.
And a tomahawk right-hand slam.
Single frames so bright and exact they ask the whole story to pause and reread itself. May 14th, 2023. Game 7, Celtics vs Sixers at TD Garden. The atmosphere is the weight of an entire season. The opponent is a wall of all-stars and narrative pressure. The city leans in. Then, Jayson Tatum, measured, patient, relentless, explodes.
Pulls up, jumper's good.
51 points, 13 rebounds, a night that breaks records and remakes expectations. The crowd remembers the last 2 hours as a single stamp. Tatum, in green, rewriting what a Game 7 could be. That one night is the headline. But if you want the honest story, you must start after the punctuation and then rewind. Because the punctuation only reads the way it does because of everything stacked behind it.
Well, Jayson has a chance to be a special player in the NBA. His game, I think, translates to the NBA maybe as well or better than anybody in the draft.
Begin with the ingredients. Jayson Christopher Tatum Sr. was born March 3rd, 1998 in St. Louis, Missouri. Duke for 1 year.
From St. Louis, Missouri, number 0, Jayson Tatum.
Picked 3rd overall by the Boston Celtics in the 2017 draft. Those are the neat facts on a resume. They do real work. They map the outlines of how opportunity met preparation. But behind the line items, there is a specific formation. A single mother who raised him, a father who coached, a youth quietly obsessed with long reps, and a body that kept adding length while his touch and timing kept refining. Draft night is a punctuation, but it's the practices, the summer leagues, the college tape, and the afternoons in that gym that teach us how punctuation becomes sentence. Tatum's early NBA years were both promise and experiment. As a rookie, he showed flashes, scoring, coolness, an advanced feel for spacing, but it's dangerous to confuse flashes with finished product. The Celtics were patient. Jaylen Brown beside him, Brad Stevens' system evolving, a front office that kept drafting and trading to build around young wings. The narrative people wanted, 2 young stars who would instantly turn Boston back into a dynastic force, took time. Tatum learned to lead incrementally. More usage, better reads, improved footwork against longer defenders, a steady increase in the willingness to attack the rim. He was becoming a different breed of scorer, equal parts isolation creator, step-back sniper, and post-up technician. There are technical things to notice if you want to hear the story in detail. Tatum's footwork is a series of tiny, deliberate lies. He buys space with the eyebrow raise of a shoulder, then plants and converts with an inside-out hop that makes mid-range look elemental. He layered range onto a fundamentally streetwise finishing instinct, floaters that beat shot blockers, a pivot game that leverages his height, and a soft touch that makes contested floaters feel like layups. That combination explains the oddity of a forward who can run the pick and roll, post smaller wings, and also pull up from 28 feet without losing rhythm. Film rooms call it versatility. Fans call it unfair. Either way, it's built, not born. If you want a single transmuting moment that changed how the league read him, don't skip his April 30th, 2021 outburst, 60 points in an overtime comeback where Boston erased a 32-point halftime deficit. 21 of those points came in the fourth quarter, 10 in OT, and he finished with a franchise-tying mark that made headlines for more than a week. That night changed the ledger. It taught the league that Tatum could both torch defenses and carry the comeback weight, that when the margin narrowed, he could shift from contributor to engine. It was not the only big night. It was the first of the kind that leave fingerprints on a player's perceived ceiling. Basketball isn't a single-night sport. It's a negotiation between the player, the roster, the coach, and the moment itself. The Celtics' road to the 2024 championship wasn't a straight line. It was a long edit of trial and correction. Personnel moves designed to balance shot creation with spacing. Coaching adjustments that allowed Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown to exist as dual alphas, not rivals for gravity. And year by year, the quiet construction of two-way depth strong enough to survive the grind of playoff attrition. In 2024, that thesis finally resolved. A banner lifted, an organization validated, proof that the duo model, Two high-usage wings who can both create and score could be engineered into a championship machine. Boston's 18th title arrived with Tatum as a central pillar, even as the Finals MVP went to Jaylen Brown, a detail that matters because it reframes Tatum's story, not just as a superstar, but as a measured engine inside a franchise in a city that asks him to be everything at once. Now, a pause and a quick word. If you're feeling the pull of this breakdown and want more frame-by-frame freezes of Tatum's game, like how he seeds the shoulder into a step back or how he manipulates help defense with subtle eye cues, hit like and subscribe. We'll break down the clips you name in the comments. There are tactical seams in Tatum's craft that deserve the slow lens. First, shot selection discipline. He evolved from a young player who sought to impose scoring volume to a creator who chooses the highest value possessions more often. Post-ups when a guard switches, step-backs when the defender overcommits, or drives that create free throws and second-chance points. Second, body positioning. At 6 feet 8 inches with guard mobility, he learned to use his frame as a shield, turning penetrations into post-ups and forcing taller opponents into uncomfortable switches. Third, pace control. Tatum's instinct for when to speed up or slow the offense changed Boston's late-game calculus. Chicago had to decide whether to force him into isolation, where his growth was still in progress, or to let the Celtics flow through his gravity. These aren't sexy lines on a stat sheet, but they're the work that wins playoff series. Comparisons are inevitable and useful because they orient the viewer. When people ask, who is Jayson Tatum like? The honest answer is, he's a hybrid. He borrows LeBron's ability to be a primary creator while standing at wing height. He borrows Kevin Durant's clean shooting mechanics and touch. And at times he channels the cold-blooded mid-range IQ of a young Kobe Bryant. Not in personality, but in finish. But Tatum's specialness is not in being a copy, it's in recombining. He occupies a modern sweet spot, enough size to post smaller wings, enough handle to create in space, and enough touch to make a late-game mid-range jumper feel like a murderer's final line. Those combinations are what make him an era-defining forward, rather than a simple name check in a list of comparisons. We also have to talk about roster chemistry, the human algebra behind wins. Tatum's relationship with Jaylen Brown is the axis of Boston's story. Two alpha wings must negotiate roles, who closes, who creates, when to defer. Some teams try to force one star into a secondary role and risk inefficiency. Boston's long-term plan prioritized spacing, ball movement, and defensive glue to let both stars shine. That plan required patient roster fills, quality shooters, switchy defenders, a reliable rim protector at times, and coaching that balanced structure with improvisation. It's boring to talk about role players, but the reality is simple. Championships are won by getting the small percentages right, screens set, rebounds contested, passes anticipated, and Tatum's game improves when those small things are done well by others. There are darker chords to the arc too. Tatum has been criticized, sometimes fairly, for quiet fourth-quarter scoring lapses, for late-game turnovers under pressure, and for stretches where shot creation went stale. Critics will point to these nights as evidence he's not clutch or not the leader, and the narrative wheels will spin. But the counter-argument is practical. Leadership in the modern NBA is messy. It is in how you steady the team over a season, how you return from slippage, and how you manage the public heat. Tatum's growth has been in exactly those places, improving decision-making in crunch time, refining his free throw and late-game mechanics, and learning how to distribute pressure rather than hoard it. That path is less Instagram-friendly, but more durable. There's a market and legacy dimension to consider as well. Tatum signed a massive extension after solidifying his All-NBA status and helping deliver a title. That contract is both an economic validation and a reminder that modern superstars are also businesses. The financial commitment forces a franchise to build around him, and that construction creates new expectations. When a player becomes a financial fulcrum, the media and fan base treat his every play as ROI. That pressure can be corrosive or catalytic. For Tatum so far, it's been mostly the latter. He's absorbed the pressure and used it to sharpen his craft. Let's look at some signature sequences that teach what made the 2024 run possible. Freezer play in the finals, where Tatum receives a handoff on the wing. One defender a step closer, the other sagging to protect the paint. He pretends to dribble, then plants, turns his shoulder as if to drive, and instead flashes a clean step back. The release is quick, compact, almost surgical. But what matters is the conditioning behind it. Defenders had been forced to respect his drives earlier in the game. The prior attention created the tiny yard of space that, in crunch time, becomes a championship margin. The play is not magic. It is the statistical product of earlier possessions where Tatum attacked the rim enough to make defenders pay for conceding space. Study those sequences, and you see how a scorer exploits a whole game's prior distribution of attention. If this is resonating and you want the next video broken into micro lessons, footwork drills, entry passes, step-back mechanics, drop your favorite Tatum moment in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss the clip breakdown. We'll pin the best submissions and stitch them into the next deep cut. There is also an international and cultural layer. Tatum's St. Louis roots, his public commitment to community work, and his quieter off-court life make him relatable in a way some stars aren't. He's the player who can carry a city and also quietly show up for a local campaign, and that duality matters for longevity. Players who convert on-court reverence into off-court trust tend to age better in public memory. Their mistakes are contextualized, their good acts collected, and their biographies read as full rather than flat. For Tatum, the 2024 championship will be a headline forever. The community work will sustain the portrait. Now, a tactical quick check for coaches and players. Focus on three things. Now, stable catch-and-shoot mechanics at varying distances, post-isolation reads from the wing, and footwork that converts speed into balanced finish. All three are teachable. The elite difference is in the relentless repetition and the cognitive habit of reading help defense 2 beats ahead. Tatum's edge isn't a single uncanny trait. It's the network of small skills held with elite confidence. Finish with the emotional image. Don't lift the 51-point box score alone. Watch the minutes before it. The earlier missed shots, the film room corrections, the quiet talk with a coach that shifts a single selection, the player who goes back to the corner and works on a release while the arena empties. Then watch the frame when the shot goes in. The chest heaves, teammates reach, and the city exhales. That crescendo is why the highlight matters and why the long grind does the real work. Jayson Tatum's story is not a single night, it's a long accumulation that turns occasional punctuation into a convincing paragraph. It's the 60-point night, the Game 7, the championship all strung into one rope. The proof of craft, patience, and the curious insistence that greatness is fewer miracles and more hours. If you love this and want the raw clip breakdown, the exact frames of Tatum's foot placement on that Game 7, the defender's hip angle, and the ball's release window, hit subscribe, drop the timestamp you want unpicked, and share this with a friend who thinks Tatum's game is overrated. We'll turn the best picks into a frame-by-frame tutorial. Watch the tape again. Notice the small things. The man who practices the slightly off-angle runner, the teammate who learns to space differently for one player's pocket, and the coach who trusts both to share responsibility. The big moments are the headlines, the rest is the ledger, and the ledger is what builds legends. Jayson Tatum keeps writing his, one precise, relentless page at a time.